Incredible journey. Single mom's heartwarming year-changing millionaire's diapers revealed his astonishing awakening, will leave you breathless. Emily rose before dawn, the day's shadows mingling with dreams she couldn't afford. With a smile, she fastened her favorite mommy's little superstar button to her apron, a daily reminder of the spirited little girl waiting for her at home. Each morning echoed with the mantra of sacrifice, hard work, and love lessons rooted deep from her own mother, guiding her as the sun rose over Kansas City's bustling suburban neighborhood. At 32, she wore the badge of a hard-working single mom like armor, living for her spirited 5-year-old daughter, Lily. But when a new neighbor moved in, the walls surrounding Emily's quiet life began to shake. Jack rolled in with a mix of luxury and loneliness that staggered her. His pristine mansion and flashy cars served as a stark contrast to her humble apartment, triggering her skepticism. He seemed to embody everything she fought against. Well-dressed and affable, Jack mingled easily with their affluent neighbors, and Emily felt small and invisible at the community barbecue, as whispers floated about her front-row witness to a life she never touched. As her shift dragged on after the barbecue, she threw herself into her work, but thoughts of Jack and his world tugged at her. Lily's laughter filled her mind, a bright beacon of hope that softened her hardened heart. But fate played its hand when Jack, battling the demands of fatherhood and corporate pressures, suffered a serious injury. Suddenly, the million-dollar smile transformed into desperation as he turned to her not as a neighbor, but as help. "Emily, can you watch Alex?" he asked, his voice laced with vulnerability. Before she could process, she found herself nodding, those aching maternal instincts kicking in once more. The diapers, late-night feedings, and giggles blossomed between them, weaving an unexpected bond that defied the vast social divide. In that messy, chaotic whirlwind of nurturing another child, Emily recognized Jack's humanity. There was laughter amidst tears, a shared understanding of sacrifice blooming like wildflowers in a concrete garden. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just when the bond deepened, darkness crept in. Whispers around the neighborhood hinted at Jack's possible shady dealings. Each chatter felt like daggers piercing Emily's newfound trust. Her heart raced. The stakes were rising. Could she stand beside the man who saw her as more than a struggling waitress, or would she shield Lily from the risks that wealth entailed? This was about loyalty and integrity, two sides of a coin that kept spinning. With every conflicted breath, Emily stood at her porch, the orange glow of the sunset filling her vision. Memories of her mother flooded her mind, of the values that defined her own road. What did it truly mean to cultivate a family across a societal gulf? Could trusting Jack break their ties or bind them in a way she never thought possible? As uncertainty swirled, one question hung in the air like the sweet scent of summer. What would she choose, safety or an unexpected kinship that defied all odds? Emily tossed and turned that night, her mind racing as the shadows danced on her bedroom walls. The whispers of the neighborhood echoed in her ears. Shady dealings, illicit contracts, trust betrayed. Was it foolish to feel a connection with Jack? Each laugh shared over baby bottles and diaper changes became entangled with the gossip that cast a pall over her heart. Morning brought with it a gray sky, heavy with the tension of the lingering storm that felt ready to break. Lily had woken up before the sun, ready for pancakes and playtime, blissfully unaware of the swirling chaos in her mother's mind. Emily forced a smile as she flipped pancakes, but the worry gnawed at her gut. Could she even be sure that Jack was who he claimed to be? Later, while Lily played with her dolls, Emily decided to take a bold step. She needed clarity. Grabbing her phone, she sent a simple text to Jack. "Can we talk?" She felt a weight lift as she hit send, laying her cards on the table. She wanted to ask not just about his past, but about who he was now. Who he was between the lines of the chatters and the gossip. When Jack arrived at her apartment that afternoon, there was a weary look in his eyes. Emily brushed her hair back, trying to project confidence, but instead vulnerability spilled out. "I don't know how to navigate this, Jack," she admitted, voice shaking. I hear things. I need to know if you're truly who you seem. His forehead creased with concern as he studied her. Emily, you have every right to be cautious, he said, stepping closer. I know my reputation might not be the best, but everything I've done has been for my son. I promise you, I'm working hard to change my life for the better. She stared into his eyes, searching for honesty. And there it was, a flicker of desperation and hope. It hit her then. Jack wasn't just a wealthy businessman. He was a father who had lost his way, trying to find forgiveness, not just from himself, but from the world. Can I trust you? Emily asked, locking her gaze onto his, willing him to impart reassurance. The stakes felt higher than ever. Jack nodded slowly, his hands tightening into fists. I want to earn your trust, Emily. I'll do whatever it takes to prove I'm a better man. For Alex and for you. The air between them shifted. That moment felt like stepping onto a precarious tightrope, carefully weaving the possibility of connection with the fear of falling. Just then Lily burst into the room, oblivious to the tension. She reached for Jack's hand and he knelt down, a genuine smile illuminating his face. Hey buddy, do you want to help me build a tower? He asked, effortlessly flipping the script with a warmth that melted Emily's worries for just a moment. Emily's heart softened, but doubt lingered. As Lily giggled and Jack's laughter echoed in her small living room, Emily knew she had a choice to make, not just for herself, but for her daughter. What would happen if she allowed Jack into their lives completely? Would she risk everything she had built to discover if he could truly change? With the storm clouds pressing down outside, the uncertainty loomed larger than ever. Emily felt the weight of both possibilities bearing down on her. Then her phone buzzed, an anonymous message. Her heart raced as she read the words. Be careful who you trust. The truth runs deeper than you think. What truth hovered just out of reach, waiting to pull apart the fragile bond they had begun to build? The back door creaked open, letting in a gust of chilly wind that rustled the curtains. It bounced off the walls and filled the room with an uneasy energy, much like the whirlwind of thoughts in Emily's mind. She glanced at Jack, who was building towers of colorful blocks with Lily, the innocent laughter blending seamlessly with the clinking of plastic toys. But it felt like a fragile moment, a bubble suspended above the chaos just outside. Who could be texting me at a time like this? She mumbled under her breath, trying to resist the urge to check her phone again. Yet, the words of that anonymous message echoed like an alarm. Should she pull Jack aside and confront him? Or should she let her heart guide her? Jack shifted slightly, laughter shared with Lily erupting in another peal of joy. His eyes sparkled, illuminating the doubts dancing in Emily's heart. Maybe she was overthinking it. After all, hadn't he made a genuine effort to connect with her and, more importantly, with Lily? Each moment they spent together seemed to chip away at the wall Emily had built around her heart, brick by brick. But deep down the warning clung to her. She moved closer to the table, her heart pounding. Jack, can I talk to you in private? He looked up, seeing the serious expression on her face. Of course. Just a minute, buddy, he said to Lily, who continued to stack blocks. They walked into the kitchen, and Emily could feel the atmosphere shift. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Jack, I've been thinking. His gaze turned serious, a question flickering across his features. About us? Sort of. She hesitated, searching for the right words amidst the turmoil. I received a message today, an anonymous one. Said, be careful who you trust. The truth runs deeper than you think. Jack's posture straightened, the playful man she saw moments ago replaced by a stoic figure. And you're worried about what it means? Yeah. It's just. Emily's heart raced. I want to believe you want to change. But how do I know if this is real? I don't want to introduce someone to Lily who might hurt her. I can't do that again. Jack moved closer, vulnerability creeping into his eyes. Emily, I'm not perfect. I know my past isn't pretty. But if there's one thing I'm certain of now, it's that I want to be a better man. Not just for Alex. For you. For Lily. His voice, filled with sincerity, stirred something deep in her. She considered the layers beneath his facade, the struggles, the determination burning bright in his soul. Was it enough? What if it's more complicated than that? She whispered, the words a tangible weight between them. What if I let you in and it all falls apart? Jack reached out, carefully capturing her hand in his. Then we face it together. I'll show you I can be. Her phone buzzed again, shaking her concentration. The timing felt cruel. She pulled her hand back to glance at the screen, and found not one, but 3 new messages from the same unknown number. Emily? Jack's voice broke through her thoughts, but she barely heard him as her eyes darted through the chilling words. You have to know the truth about him. Her heart froze, realizing that the shadows lurking in her neighborhood were closing in on her. Emily, what is it? Jack pressed with concern etched across his features. She looked up, fear gripping her heart. I don't know what's coming, but I sense it's bad. A knock on the door echoed through the apartment, sharper than any thunder in the brewing storm outside. Who is that? Jack asked, his voice low, the air thick with tension. Emily's heart thundered in her chest, dread coursing through her as she exchanged a glance with Jack. What if this was the moment everything changed? Stay here, Jack instructed, stepping toward the door. What was waiting for them on the other side? As he paused, hand resting on the knob, Emily felt time freeze. Each second ticked loud in her ears, a countdown to whatever awaited them. The door creaked open, and they both gasped at the sight revealed. A figure stood there, silhouetted against the harsh light outside. It was hard to make out any details in the dim light of the apartment, but Emily's stomach twisted into knots when she recognized the face. Max? She whispered, disbelief etched on her features. Max, her ex, looked just as she remembered, sharp jawline, tousled hair, and that smirk that used to drive her insane. The weight of his presence flooded her with memories, some good, a lot bad. What are you doing here? Jack's voice was laced with a mix of confusion and anger as he positioned himself slightly in front of Emily, a protector standing firm. I came to talk to you, Emily, Max said, his tone deceptively calm, though his eyes flickered with something that felt dangerous. It's important. Can we not do this in front of the kid? The tension coiled tighter in the room. Lily was still in the other room, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beyond her door. Emily's mind raced. This wasn't how she imagined things would go today. I think you should leave, she stated, her voice steady but laced with fear. You have no right to just show up like this. Max chuckled, a sound that felt wrong. You think I'll just let you live your perfect little life? Without knowing the truth? Emily glanced back at Jack, whose expression was a mix of confusion and concern. She needed to protect Lily, and she needed to protect herself. What truth? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, though she already dreaded the answer. About him, Max pointed a finger accusingly at Jack. He isn't who you think he is. Jack's jaw tightened, his expression darkening. You don't know anything about me. Oh, don't I? You think a man can just wipe the past away? Doesn't he work like that, Jack? Jack stepped forward, rage simmering beneath the surface. You have no place here. This is not your life anymore. Emily felt trapped, caught between Jack's desire to defend himself and Max's threat hanging in the air. She wanted to scream at Max to leave, but her instincts warned her that he wouldn't go quietly. Maybe you think you can just paint a pretty picture, but you're dragging Lily into this, Max said, his voice cold and sharp. I'm trying to look out for her. She stepped in closer, feeling that protective instinct surge forward. Don't you dare act like you care about her. You left. Max shrugged as though that didn't matter. That was then. This is now. I owe it to her to let her know about her father's new plaything. It's your choice, Emily. Open the door and let me help you see the truth, or keep him around and risk losing everything. Tension crackled in the air, and fear gripped Emily's heart. She felt exposed, raw. Everything Jack had said, all the hope she felt, suddenly felt fragile under Max's dark shadow. Just leave, Jack said quietly, fists clenched at his sides, words low but firm. She looked at Jack, a wave of panic washing over her mixed with an overwhelming urge to protect him, to protect Lily. You can't just say these things. But Jack's gaze was steady, fierce, and protective. He wasn't backing down. Then you'll find out what happens when lies unravel, Max shot back, a grin spreading across his face, and for a moment, it was like looking at the darkness that had haunted her life return, ready to spill secrets. Before she could respond, Max stepped back, glancing at the door one last time. Just remember, the truth isn't just what you see, he said ominously, it runs deeper than you think. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving Emily and Jack standing in uncertain silence, hearts racing with a mixture of dread and disbelief. As the door clicked shut, Emily felt the world around her crumbling, the shadows creeping in once again. What did he mean? She whispered, fear clinging to every word. Jack turned, worry etched across his features. I'll protect you, Emily. Promise. But a single thought banded on repeat in her mind. What if the truth was worse than she feared? A heavy cloud hung over the apartment as they faced each other, knowing the answer was out there, just waiting to be uncovered. What other secrets lay in wait? Emily felt the weight of the silence settle around them like a thick fog. She crossed her arms, wrapping them tight in a futile attempt to shield herself from the chill that Max had left behind. Jack stood before her, an unwavering pillar, yet she could see the uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Emily, he began, his voice gentle but firm. We can figure this out. No one knows the truth about my past except me, and I'm not letting anyone take away what we've built. She nodded, but the knot in her stomach twisted tighter. But what if he's right? What if there's something I don't know? She couldn't shake the fear that had clawed its way into her heart. Jack's brow furrowed. If there is something, I'll face it. Together. The sincerity in his voice made her heart flutter, but the shadows cast by Max's words loomed larger than ever. I have to know, she whispered, guilt wrapping around her like a snake. For Lily. What if she's already tangled up in a web of lies? What if he really knows something we don't? Taking a deep breath, Jack stepped closer. The warmth of his presence brought some comfort. You trust me, don't you? We can get through this. She opened her mouth to respond, but a loud thud from the other room broke the moment, jolting both of them into action. Lily! Emily called out, rushing toward the sound. Jack followed, his heart racing in sync with hers as they entered the living room. They found Lily on the floor, surrounded by a scattering of her toys, her wide eyes glistening with tears. I dropped my doll. She sniffled, wiping her cheeks with her tiny hands. Emily knelt beside her. It's okay, sweetheart. Here, let us pick it up together. She could feel the warmth of love flowing through her as she scooped up the doll and the mess around them. Mommy, why was that man so mean? Lily asked, her innocent voice a sharp contrast to the chaos just moments before. Emily bit her lip, glancing at Jack. They had shielded her from so much already. He was just trying to confuse us, sweetheart. People sometimes say things that aren't true, to hurt others. But we know what's right, don't we? Lily nodded, still looking troubled. Jack knelt down, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Exactly. And your mom and I are always going to be here to protect you. Nothing's going to change that. Emily watched the way Jack spoke to her daughter, the sincerity in his voice wrapping around Lily like a warm blanket. But the cloud of uncertainty weighed heavily on her heart. Jack, she said softly as Lily busied herself with her toys, what if Max is still out there plotting? What does that mean for us? I can handle him, Jack replied, his expression turning serious. But we need to be ready to face whatever he throws at us. Her mind raced. What if the truth was worse than they had imagined? What if Max's words were just the beginning of a long chain of revelations that could tear their world apart? As the evening shadows lengthened, she felt the walls closing in, and doubts that had settled until now began to claw back to the surface. Do you think he knows something about you? She asked, insecurity edging into her voice. Jack hesitated, the look in his eyes flickering. I don't know, but I won't let him tear us apart. We'll confront this together. Let us not lose faith or each other. The resolve in his voice was powerful, but Emily still felt the weight of the unknown pressing down. That nagging question lingered like a shadow, lurking just beyond the veil of trust they built. Maybe we should look into this further, she said, a hint of determination creeping in. Find out if there's any truth to what he said. Agreed, Jack replied, a glimmer of approval lighting his eyes. But we have to be careful. We don't know what kind of game he's playing. With a deep, shaky breath, Emily nodded. Together they begin this journey into the shadows, hunting for truth, with love and loyalty as their guiding stars. But as she looked at Jack, a new fear washed over her. What if stepping into the light meant they'd find something that shattered it all? The night set heavy around them. What are we going to uncover? She whispered to the darkness, nervously seeking answers just beyond her grasp. Emily sat at the edge of the couch, her heart pounding, uncertainty writhing in her chest. The dim light threw shadows across the living room, Each corner felt like a reminder of the chaos threatening their fragile peace. Lily's quiet humming brought her momentary solace, a brief distraction as she saw the little girl absorbed in her playful world of dolls. Jack remained close, his presence a comforting anchor amidst the turbulent waves of her thoughts. "We need a plan," he said, his voice steady, yet Emily could detect a hint of unease. She noticed the way his fingers drummed against his thigh, a telltale sign of his own anxiety. "What type of plan?" she asked, forcing herself to focus. "To find out everything we can about Max," Jack replied, his jaw set in determination. "We can't let him control this. This is our family, our life. He can't take that from us." The thought made Emily shiver. But what if we dig too deep? What if we uncover something we're not prepared to handle? Jack met her gaze, his eyes fierce yet warm. "Then we handle it together. No more secrets. No more fear." Emily drew in a breath, weighing his words. Trust. That's what had carried them through hard times before. Their strength had always been their unity, and despite the shadows lurking in the corners of their minds, hope flickered within her. "'Kay," she finally said. "But we'll need to be careful. Perhaps we should start with local records or try to track down someone who knows him." He nodded, approval brightening his features. "I can reach out to an old friend from the police department. He might have some insights." Their plan solidified a little more, but anxiety still coiled in Emily's stomach. She felt like they were about to step into a storm, and her heart hammered against her ribs at the thought of what they might find. "Let us search for some clues about Max tonight, after Lily goes to bed," she suggested, glancing at her daughter, who was blissfully unaware of the adult worries swirling around her. Jack agreed, and they both shifted their focus, working together to keep the atmosphere light for Lily. They played silly games and read her favorite stories, but Emily's mind wandered, her thoughts often straying back to Max. What kind of man was he? What could he truly expose about Jack's mysterious past? Eventually it was bedtime. As they tucked Lily in, Emily couldn't shake the feeling of impending dread as she kissed her softly. "Good night, sweetheart. Dream of unicorns and rainbows." "Good night, Mommy." "Love you," Lily murmured, her eyelids fluttering closed with the door softly closed behind them. Emily stole a glance at Jack. "Ready?" He took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." They moved to the dining table, turning on a laptop and pulling out a notepad. With each keystroke and scribble, the weight of their decision pressed down, each word like a step into unknown territory. "Let us check news articles first. Anything related to Max or his family could lead us to something," Jack suggested, his fingers flying across the keyboard as they searched. The minutes turned to hours. They found some articles about a missing person from years ago, a name that sent a cold chill down Emily's spine when mentioned. What if he's connected to something bigger? She mused aloud. Something dangerous? Jack's expression hardened as he scanned the screen. "We need to stay vigilant. But it's possible that digging this up could bring unwanted attention." Just then, an email alert visible in the corner of the screen caught Emily's eye. She leaned in closer and her breath caught. It was a message addressed to Jack from someone named Leah, asking for a meeting. "Who's Leah?" Emily's voice trembled. He frowned, confusion clouding his features. "I don't know. I've never seen that name before." Every instinct in Emily screamed that they were on the verge of revealing something monumental. Should you respond? Find out what she knows? Jack hesitated, biting his lip. Maybe, but what if she's connected to Max? Their eyes met, an unspoken understanding passing between them. They ventured too close to something explosive, teetering on the edge of chaos. "Should we maybe not respond?" Emily suggested, her voice barely above a whisper, as if saying it louder would incite whatever harm lingered in the shadows. Jack sighed deeply. "I think we just have to be ready for whatever comes next together." Emily's pulse quickened. "And what if we find out things we wish we hadn't?" As silence fell heavy, the weight of their decision loomed larger than ever. They were stepping into the dark, uncharted territory, and Emily couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change. What would they uncover next? Emily's heart raced as she stared at the screen. There it was, that email with Leah's name dangling in the air like an unanswered question. She thought of all the what-ifs spiraling through her mind. What if Leah knew something about Max? What if she had information that could shake their world even more than it already was? We can't be reckless, Jack said, breaking the silence. Responding could open a can of worms we're not ready for. But not responding could mean missing a chance to find out something vital, Emily countered, panic threading her voice. What if this person has been waiting to tell us something important? Jack leaned back in his chair, his fingers still hovering over the keyboard. We're standing on a cliff right now, Em. One wrong step and we could fall. Emily glanced at the closed door of Lily's bedroom, and the thought of dragging their daughter into this chaos filled her with dread. We owe it to ourselves and to Lily to know what we're dealing with. If there's even a chance that knowing more could protect us from Max. Jack's expression softened. He ran a hand through his hair, weighing her words. All right, but let us be smart about it. If we do this, we approach it delicately. Together? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Always. His eyes met hers, filled with a quiet promise that steadied her racing heart. With a nod, Emily leaned closer to the screen. Okay, let us see what she wants. Jack drafted a cautious response, carefully crafting each word as if it were a delicate thread binding their fate. After a few minutes, he hit send. The cursor blinked, waiting. They sat in tense silence, the only sound coming from the muffled hum of the refrigerator, time stretching out in front of them like a vast, uncertain ocean. A few moments later, the sound of a new email notification jolted them both. Emily held her breath as Jack opened the message. Wow, he murmured, reading the contents aloud. She says she has information about Max, but first wants to meet in person. No details over the email. Emily's stomach twisted. A meeting? That sounds risky. What if she's just a distraction? Jack nodded. That's a possibility. But we can't turn our backs on it either. We need to know who, if anyone, could help us. What do we do? Emily's voice quivered slightly. She felt every pulse of uncertainty in the air. Let us set a location that's public. Somewhere safe, he suggested, squinting at the screen as he began typing back. We need to keep our guard up. Right, she said, a fierce determination hardening her resolve. And we should probably go together. No going solo. Absolutely. Jack looked at her, a spark of confidence flickering in his eyes. We're a team, remember? As they finalized the details of the meeting, Emily felt a sense of unease settle in her chest. She wanted to protect her family at all costs, but the path they were choosing felt fraught with hidden dangers. Later, they found themselves pacing the living room, waiting for the time when they would meet Leah. Hours felt like days as Emily replayed the potential scenarios in her mind. What could Leah possibly know? Was it about Max, or was it about Jack's past? Want some tea? She asked, trying to soothe her own frayed nerves. Sure. Jack's hands were restless, tapping against whatever surface was close, as if he needed something to ground him. Watching him, she felt the weight of the moment. It was both unnerving and strangely invigorating, the thrill of the unknown sparking through her veins. But what if they learned something that changed everything they thought they knew? Finally, time ticked near for their meeting. As they got ready to leave, Emily caught a glimpse of the happy chaos in their home, Lily's toys strewn everywhere, the remnants of dinner on the table. This life they fought so hard to build was worth defending, no matter the cost. Let us go, Jack said, determination flooding his tone. She took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of courage. Let us protect our family, she added, her heart pounding with purpose. Together, they stepped out into the night, prepared to confront their fears. But as they made their way toward the headlights of their car, a nagging thought wormed its way into Emily's mind. What if Leah's information turned their world upside down? What if everything crumbled before them? They would have to face whatever awaited, even if it meant venturing into the unknown. As they headed to the meeting, a chilling thought crept in. Sometimes the truth was far more dangerous than any secret. Would they be ready for what lay ahead? The diner was busy, the clatter of plates and hum of conversation swirling around Emily and Jack as they took a booth near the back. The warm glow of neon lights wrapped them in a strange comfort, but anxiety twisted in Emily's gut. She glanced at her watch, almost time. Jack slid his phone onto the table, the screen lighting up with a reminder. We have 15 minutes to spare, he said, his tone calm but his fingers drumming a rapid beat against the table. Let us just breathe. Breathe, she echoed, though it felt like her heart was pounding too loudly to hear anything else around them. She fidgeted with the napkin holder, staring at the colorful array of ketchup and mustard bottles nearby. What if this is a trap? The words tumbled out, unfiltered. Jack leaned closer, his eyes holding hers with an intensity that stole some of her fear. We're going to approach this together. Just remember, we're not in a vulnerable position. We know what's at stake. The door swung open, and a gust of wind swept into the diner. Emily's heart stalled for a brief second. Could that be Leah? The figure stepping in didn't resemble anyone she recognized. Just an ordinary customer. Relief washed over her, but it was fleeting. I can't shake the feeling that there's more to this, she whispered, half daring to breathe as she leaned forward. More to Max, to everything he's our past, Jack reminded her gently, his thumb brushing the back of her hand. Whatever Leah knows, we can handle it. We've survived worse. Before she could respond, the door opened again, and in walked a woman with wavy red hair that tumbled freely over her shoulders. Leah looked around, her gaze scanning the room. When her eyes landed on Emily and Jack, a flicker of hesitation crossed her face before she approached their booth. "Hi," Leah said, her voice light but edged with nervousness as she slid into the seat across from them. "Thanks for meeting me." Emily felt a strange thrill ripple through her, a mix of premonition and hope. "You said you have something to tell us about Max." Leah took a deep breath, seeming to steel herself. "I didn't want to reach out over email," she started, glancing at the other patrons. "It's complicated, but I know things that you need to understand about Max, about everything." Jack's posture shifted slightly, protective instincts flaring. "What do you mean? What kind of things?" "Things I thought I could keep to myself, but I realized you deserve to know," Leah continued, her gaze unwavering. "I thought if I just stayed silent it would all fade away." Emily felt her pulse quicken. "Whatever you're holding back is already affecting us, Leah. We need full honesty now." Leah's lips parted, and silent words danced behind her eyes. Okay, but promise me you'll stay calm. This is bigger than you think." The weight of her statement settled heavily on the table, and Emily exchanged looks with Jack. They were on the brink of a revelation that could change everything, like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into the abyss. "I can handle it," Jack assured, his voice steady, but Emily could see a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. "Max," Leah spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "He's not who you think he is. There are connections, dangerous ones, that tie him to something far darker and deeper." An invisible force seemed to pin Emily in place. A chill swept through her, turning her focus inward. Jack shifted in his seat, his brow furrowing with confusion and concern as he processed her words as Leah continued, describing intricate details that rolled off her tongue like cautious revelations. Emily realized that shaking foundations of their lives could soon be the least of their worries. Fear and uncertainty took a back seat to something darker, something that could unravel all of it, the truth. "What do you mean darker?" Jack interjected, urgency rising in his tone. Leah's eyes widened, a storm brewing. "If you thought you were free of Max's reach, you were wrong. This goes deeper, and you're going to need to protect yourselves from what's coming." Emily's heart raced, and panic sparked with each passing second. Their world was about to shift again, and the implications were staggering. What had they stepped into? Just then, a loud crash from the kitchen drew their attention, followed by hurried voices. The weight of Leah's words fell like a heavy fog around them. Was the truth as devastating as it sounded? As they absorbed the implications, one thought consumed Emily. Were they ready to confront the darkness that Max brought with him? The diner, once a haven, had turned into an arena for hidden secrets. What else lay in the shadows, waiting to be revealed? In the chaos of the diner, Emily felt the world press in on her. She turned to Leah, who appeared both fragile and resolute, as if she were balancing on a tightrope, ready to spill everything at any moment. "Leah," Emily began, her voice a whisper as if afraid to disrupt the fragile atmosphere. "What exactly are you saying about Max?" Leah hesitated, her sudden silence amplifying the tension in the air. "Max," she repeated, the name hanging heavy between them. "He's been involved in things that go beyond just us criminal connections, people who won't hesitate to hurt you if they feel threatened." Jack's jaw clenched tight. "How do you know this? How do you know him?" Leah blinked, her green eyes brushing over the thoughts that began to swirl anxiously in the pit of Emily's stomach. "I was involved with Max for a while," she confessed. "I thought I could change him, you know? But I learned not everyone deserves saving." Emily's heart sank. Max had always been a part of their lives. A fragment of a past that felt like it shouldn't come creeping back now. What does he want from us, Leah? What does he want from you? Leah fidgeted, biting her lip as she gathered her thoughts. He wants to protect himself, and that means you. You're his weakness. If he feels threatened, he might lash out. The truth stung, and Emily shuddered at the thought of Max hunting them down. Memories flared like fireworks, fragile moments of laughter interwoven with the dread of what could come next. You're saying he could hurt us? Before Leah could answer, the crash from the kitchen erupted again, sending a cascade of sounds through the diner, rattling her. A waitress hurried past their booth, her face pale, and Emily caught a glimpse of shadows moving behind the thick glass. Something dark was brewing just outside their haven, a storm threatening to spill over. I don't know, Leah exclaimed, her voice shaky now. All I know is that you need to be careful. Max into the same guy who left town. He's more connected, and those connections might be dangerous. You can't trust him anymore. Jack shot up, the urgency in his posture breaking through the anxiety that bound them. We need to go, he said, his voice firm. Now. Emily shook her head, the thought of running feeling like betrayal not just to herself, but to everything they had fought for. We can't just leave, she muttered, panic already rising like bile in her throat. What if he's waiting for us? What if he, Emily? Jack's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts, grounding her. We need to think clear. If Max finds us, it will end poorly. We need a plan. But we can't just hide, she urged, desperation creeping into her words. That's what he wants. Leah leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a near whisper, urgency laced with fear. Then we need to outsmart him. Get ahead of him. You know more than you think, and if I'm right, he thinks he has the upper hand. We need to take that away from him. Emily's heart raced as the weight of choices settled heavily on her shoulders. The moment felt like a fork in the road, each path leading into unknown territories, both fraught with danger. The thought struck her suddenly, a flickering light in the encroaching darkness. If we go public, expose him for what he is, are you crazy? Jack shot back, eyes widening. That could put a target on all our backs. But it might also protect us, she insisted, looking at Leah, desperate for reassurance. If enough people know, he can't hurt us without blowing up his entire network. Jack rubbed his face, frustration simmering beneath the surface. It's a gamble, Emily. Huge one. Leah took a breath, her expression softening. No more secrets. We share everything we know. If we do this together, we have a chance. The atmosphere shifted, a fragile alliance forming amidst the storm brewing inside and outside their booth. Could they navigate this perilous situation together? With the shadows closing in, one question loomed above all the rest. Could they really compete against an enemy that already held so much power? As the diner pulsed with tension, Emily took a deep breath, gathering courage like a shield around her heart. She watched the way Jack glanced around, the protective instinct in his stance reminding her of everything they had built together. She felt a fierce determination ignite within her. She wouldn't let Max shatter their newfound peace, or the love they decultivated. All right, Emily said, her voice stronger than she felt. Let us expose him. We spread the word before he can strike. Jack's concerned eyes scanned her, searching for any sign of hesitation. It's too risky, Emily. What if it backfires? It could also be our only chance, she countered, the fire in her soul pushing through. Behind them, the swirling chaos of the diner continued, but their focus remained sharp, fixed on the looming threat Max represented. We can't let fear dictate our next move. If we reveal him for who he really is, he loses power. Jack's face softened slightly as he recognized the resolve in her eyes. Okay, he said at last, his tone a mixture of pride and fear. Let us figure out how to do this safely. We'll contact local news, gather any evidence we can against him. But we're playing this smart. Together, Emily affirmed, hope surging through her. Together felt like a mantra, a promise that encapsulated every moment they shared, a promise that they would face whatever came next as a team. As Leah leaned in and laid out the details of Max's activities, it felt like the pieces of a puzzle began to slide into place. They exchanged information late into the night, scribbling notes and plotting how they would act on this knowledge without leaving a trail for Max to follow. The more they discussed, the more Emily felt the weight of the past lift, replaced by the fierce desire to safeguard their future. Once they had a plan, Jack looked at her, eyes blazing with determination. This isn't just about us anymore. It's about Lily too. Yes, Emily agreed, her voice firm. We fight for her. We make sure she grows up in a world clear of shadows. That thought pulsed in her mind like a drumbeat. Lily deserved laughter, love, and safety. They had the power to create that. As dawn approached, they stepped out of the diner into the cool morning. A new kind of light piercing through the veil of night, hope, fresh and vibrant, wrapped around them like a blanket. They returned home with their hearts synchronized in a way they had never felt before. The sight of Lily still peacefully sleeping filled Emily with renewed purpose. She quietly hugged Jack, the weight of what was to come both exciting and terrifying. Whatever happens, we face it together, right? She whispered. Always, he assured, his voice thick with emotion. With the dawn lighting up the horizon, they worked tirelessly over the coming days. They gathered evidence, reached out to contacts, and shared their story with trusted friends. Each connection they made solidified their resolve, drawing a clearer picture of the dangerous web Max had spun. But just as they started spreading the word, uncertainty began circling back. Late one night, as they prepared to launch their campaign against Max's hidden life, Emily's phone buzzed. An anonymous text message. You don't know who you're dealing with. Back off while you still can. Fear slithered down her spine, but alongside it came a fierce adrenaline rush. Max was watching. The threat felt close, too real for comfort. But turning back wasn't an option. Are you okay? Jack asked, noticing the change in her demeanor. She nodded. Her response felt steadied, like a fragile flame amid the dark. Yes, afraid. And that means we're already winning. The feeling of dread gradually evaporated, replaced by a burgeoning confidence. They continued their mission with renewed energy. And when they finally faced Max, their hands linked, Emily felt no fear. Instead, she felt empowered, like they were clutching the pieces of their futures in their grasp. Max's confrontation felt surreal, each moment stretching into eternity. Jack stood stoic beside her as she declared the truth, forcing him into the light he feared most. The way he faltered under the weight of their united front filled Emily with a fierce sense of justice. You've lost your grip, Max, she said, her voice steady. Your lies cannot shadow our lives any longer. With the community rallying around them, the truth began to unfold. People shared their stories, turning the tide and releasing the chains of fear. The community's support felt like a tidal wave, crashing against Max's lies, breaking everything down. One evening, as darkness settled in the neighborhood, Emily and Jack reveled in their kitchen while Lily danced around them, blissfully unaware of the battle that had raged just outside their world. Emily felt warmth radiate through her as she watched her daughter twirl, the vibrant light of life shining bright. We did it, Emily whispered, leaning into Jack's side, her heart brimming with gratitude. They had fought the battle together, endured the chaos, and emerged victorious. With a smile on his face, Jack pulled her closer, their lives intertwined in every imaginable way. As they embraced, a sense of peace washed over them, deep and profound. And as they sat together watching Lily play, Emily realized something monumental. Family isn't just defined by blood. It's about choosing to hold each other through the storm, finding light even in the darkest of times. This was their story. This was their victory. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment with your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share these incredible journeys. True fans know how important it is.